The wait is over. You were waiting, right?
Oh, God. No. Please, no.
The end is nigh. Darwin and Cat are back.
Anyone who's worked a job for any length of time has run into that person. You know, that special someone who fits neatly into a category. You know them. The busybody, the Jesus freak, the know-it-all, and the worst, he of questionable hygiene. Kat and I both started working pretty young, as soon as we were legally able to do so. And throughout the years, we've met every kind of stereotype imaginable. This week's show dives into work life in radio and beyond. From awkward encounters to unforgettable coworkers, we're unpacking the characters who made clocking in a daily adventure.
What are you doing? What is that?
Well, we're going to play a little game today. I have a box of categories, and I'm shaking it here, and I'm going to pick one out for you. So,
Okay.
all right, so let's see.
I can't wait.
Box. We have paper. Let me unfold it. Here we go. You ready?
Hit me.
Category: he of questionable hygiene. You got one?
I do. Oh my God. Okay. So Darwin, this is not a radio story, but it oddly is somewhat showbiz adjacent.
Okay.
Okay. So I worked at a comedy traffic school.
Now, what is that?
Okay,
And you've told me this every time, and I still don't get it.
It was sort of a trend years back. If you get a ticket, you can get it wiped from your record by going to traffic school, right? So why not go to a funny traffic school? These were taught by stand-ups, and you'll laugh uproariously for 8 to 16 hours, depending on your moving violation.
So were you one of the comedians?
No, I was 16 and I worked in the office on the weekends. You know how we've talked about radio being the lowest rung on the showbiz ladder? But I'm going to say that traffic school comedian is actually worse. These were older guys. They were at the end of their ropes. They were disheveled. Hollywood had chewed them up and spit them out pretty hard. I mean, they could barely book open mics. If you've ever seen Glengarry Glen Ross, it was that kind of air of depression. So where do they end up? They end up at Hardy Har's traffic safety course. Okay, you said questionable hygiene.
I can smell them through your description.
It was brutal. I was at my desk one day and the owner sits down beside me. His name was Myron. And he has a serious look on his face. And I think I'm getting fired. I mean, I'm 16. I'm an absolute shit worker, right? And he pulls $10 out of his pocket and he says, I need you to take Walt out for a drink and tell him.
Walt? Wait. Hold on a minute. You got to take Walt out for a drink.
I need you to take Walt out for a drink.
And what?
And tell him he smells.
What?
Walt was our most popular teacher, but he always looked like he was crashing from a 3-day glue bender. And I looked at my boss and I just reminded him that I'm not old enough to drink, so somebody else will have to give Walt the news.
Walt?
Walt.
You stink.
Walt. Can you imagine? Like, I'm 16. I'm super shy. I have to take this 63-year-old man out, and get him a Harvey Wallbanger and be like, Walt, you smell. No, that was not my job. I answered the phones.
But we've all worked in an office before where you give somebody the gift of like Listerine and a toothbrush, right? We've all been there.
I'm having a mint. Walt, would you like a mint? And it's kind of like.
Yeah, but it doesn't. You got to be careful with that because you can't be like, I'm taking a shower. Walt, would you like to take a shower? Because that could go the wrong way quick.
Hop in, Walt, and scrub my back. No, it didn't work like that. No. So that was he of questionable hygiene at the comedy traffic school. And Darwin, they asked me, I worked there for about a year. And when I was kind of like, I was going to quit, I was getting out of there, they wanted to keep me. And they're like, hey, Kat, you're really funny. Do you want to become a traffic comedian? And I was like, no, I don't want to become a traffic comedian.
Sounds like the most horrible idea ever. I just can't understand why this was a thing. I would never pay to go there. I wouldn't do it. I just can't.
You don't want to hear knock jokes about stop signs?
No.
Okay.
No. On a sidebar, I'm going to throw this at you. When I was 16 and I took driver's ed, I almost failed the final exam because I couldn't stop laughing at one of the multiple choice questions.
What was it?
The question was, what are you supposed to do if you're about to be in a head-on collision? And choice
Bend
C-
over and kiss or ask goodbye.
Yeah, that wasn't one of the choices.
Oh,
One of the
okay.
choices was choice C. I'll never forget this. Choice C was cover your eyes and scream.
That sounds perfectly reasonable to me.
And 16-year-old me thought that was so stupid. I couldn't stop laughing during the final exam. And the teacher was like, I will fail you if you don't stop laughing. I'm
Mister,
like,
do you think this is funny? Well, a little bit.
I was like, this is hilarious. You put this on here. This is so stupid. And I'm looking around the room and I'm looking at people around the room and I'm going, I know there's people here who will pick this. All right, next category.
Okay. Shake, shake,
All right.
shake, baby. What's it going to be?
All right. Oh, boy. The Jesus freak.
Oh, yes. We are back in radio with the Jesus freak.
Think our early days. Are you thinking who I'm thinking?
Michelle.
Maybe Michelle. Yes.
It's Michelle.
Michelle. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
She
What was her-
loved the Lord, and that's fine. But she
Yes.
wanted us to love the Lord just like she does.
And she was very timid about us. The tattooed, pierced morning show from the rock station. And
5'2" blonde girl on the rock station. She's the devil.
well, she kind of assumed you did worship the devil, didn't she?
She thought I was into the Dark Master, definitely.
She would appear like she was afraid of us. She would see us in the hallway and stop and turn around and scurry away from us.
She would hide like she'd duck in back of a plant.
She would. And we were like, hi, Michelle. And she'd be like, hi.
Was she making her cross with her fingers? Stay away.
So when they started adding traffic to our morning show, who did they assign to us?
Of course they assigned Michelle.
Who's terrified of us? She would come on and we would try to banter with us and she would ignore it. She would just be like, oh, well, the traffic's great on the Twins and 787 and alternate 7 are clear and have a great morning. This is your traffic with Michelle. And like she would go off on her.
Thanks, Michelle. Hell, Satan. She didn't like that.
Do you remember one morning? I don't know if you remember this. We were playing Du hast, which
Du hast, of course.
and we were going to Michelle and she just wasn't there. Because remember, she like heard the song and I think she disconnected.
Yeah, I think she thought it was
like,
just satanic chanting in German.
we're like, how's the traffic, Michelle? Dead line. Nothing. I was like, huh. And I think you made a joke about what are they singing the song anyway? Are they like cart?
Oh, yeah. I
Grocery
said
cart.
Du hast roughly translates into, when you get that rusty shopping cart with that one wheel that won't turn, that's a Du hast. People are actually calling going, really? I'm like, yeah, I speak
Yeah.
German.
It means cart. Grocery cart. Yeah.
Rusty cartwheel.
One day we heard she was leaving for another job. And of course, at the Christian station.
Good for
Without
her.
kidding.
That's her calling.
It's where she belonged
Yep.
and where she wanted to go. And, 2 weeks later, she was leaving and they made us work Saturdays. So we'd come in on a Saturday and we get in for our Saturday shift. That was every other Saturday. And it was after her last day. And what did we find all over our desks?
Stacks of Jesus pamphlets.
Tons of them.
And they weren't subtle. They were, you are going to hell. No, really, you are. And a picture of like somebody just being engulfed by flames.
God will forgive the homosexuals. I got one of those.
Oh, wow. So she went,
good.
you got a custom one.
I did. And they were all over the place. And it was the address of her church and a little note saying, join us. We'll pray for you. We can save you. And we were so incensed about it. So mad.
It was definitely the Fire and Brimstone Church.
It was like that bitch.
Yeah, that was
I
weird.
hope that place burns down. Which, by the way, it kind of did.
What?
There was a fire.
Did you walk by it and burst into flames?
No, their transformer blew up.
Oh, close
I had
enough.
nothing to do with it. It was
Okay.
not me. Okay.
All right.
And now they went bankrupt and they're gone. So womp womp.
Praise the Lord.
All right. You ready for another category?
Yeah. Shake it up. Do it.
Shake. All right. Let's see what we got here. This was oddly specific.
Mm-hmm.
Adopted as a child by a family that made her a walking opposite day.
Yes, that is oddly specific, and that would be Alicia.
You are good.
Yep.
That is, ow.
I
Okay.
remember her clearly.
Alicia, who became our next traffic reporter when Michelle left. Alicia was, let's give the adoption. She was adopted as a child.
Yes.
She would tell us on the air all the time this.
She was adopted. She was a huge NASCAR fan. She was Jewish, but here's the twist. Alicia's black.
Yes. So she would always say, I'm the only black Jewish NASCAR fan. And she would just say this all the time.
She would just walk in a room and introduce herself like that. Yes. And she always had that NASCAR jacket. I never saw her without her NASCAR attire.
Very proud of it. Very, very. And she was great. I loved her. But she would get on the air and kind of accidentally make racial slurs. Like she would just say things that were so out of pocket that we wouldn't know what to do with it. And it was so awkward. Like, I can't even repeat them.
I suppose when you're an adopted black Jewish NASCAR fan, you can own some of those words and say them, but we couldn't say them. And we didn't know what to say when she said them.
Right. And I'm not going to lecture a black person ever on what they say. That's not my place.
And I'm not going to lecture a NASCAR fan about what to say. It's not my place.
But it was awkward because we were kind of the cracker show. I'm not going to lie. We are, like, look at us.
Kind of beige, yeah, because we're Italian American.
Yeah, that whole thing. And we've gone over that. In a way, I'm fine with her expressing herself, but listeners didn't always know because she didn't always precede these things she would say with, I'm a black Jewish NASCAR fan.
No, she would just drop some doozies that probably my grandfather said in 1941.
Yes. Like one day, I'm going to say this. I'm not saying what she said. No way. And if this starts to ring a bell, tell me. She talked about how she was adopted and she didn't quite get into all the details you need for this, but she talked about how her parents adopted her. So she was basically there and it was a very specific slur for a black baby.
Yeah.
And
it was a spicy term. Yeah.
Yes.
Baby was the second word.
And sometimes this could be a word for a sticky situation, but nobody uses it for that because it's also a racial slur.
Yeah, it's bad.
And she just said it.
Yeah.
And
like my grandpa. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. I guess I'm my parents this. And we were dumbfounded. And our midday guy at the time was doing a crossover with us and unknowingly didn't quite understand what this was. And he goes, "What's a blah, blah, baby?" And we were like,
and again, nobody knows her background. Nobody knows what she looks like, but she's just dropping old school slurs all over the place.
Yes.
All over the place.
And then this white mofo, who's the midday guy, repeats it. And we're like, no. She would do this all the time, though. I mean, there were other ones, too, that would just come up and she would just say it mid-sentence. And then we would look at each other and be like...
See, in radio, they always teach us you have to reset because somebody might tune in just then or a little late. You always kind of have to put things in context. There was no reset for this.
Nope.
Just blank baby. Boom, right there, sitting there.
And then he repeats it and we go to commercial. And I just get out of it. And we weren't running a delay either because we weren't taking calls or anything.
Right. People are crossing. It's supposed to be light banter. What's coming up next hour? Blank, baby.
And we were like, ah! I don't think the distress noise that came out of both of us when that happened. We go into break and we look at him and we're like, don't say that. And he's like, what does it mean? She didn't explain it. And we were like, Google it. Not on a work computer. Just Google it, okay?
Take yourself off the Wi-Fi and look it up.
I remember when he did, he was mortified once he realized what he had repeated on the air. And surprisingly, that didn't result in a see me email. So if you don't know what that means, listen to the Banned Bits episode. Oof. That was a
spicy one, Darwin. I can't wait to see what's next.
Maybe I'll pull something better out of the
please. Something we can actually talk about.
Okay. All right. I got one. The know-it-all.
I got a couple.
You got a couple. Should I give a hint on one I have in mind? Another traffic reporter.
Oh, that would be Mary Silver.
Yes. She was nuts, but we liked her.
We liked her, but she had a few quirks. Hey, like we all do, but specifically with Mary, she was obsessed with dating cops.
Mm-hmm.
And the know-it-all part comes from she would corner us with the most bizarre facts. Do you remember what she would sound like?
Oh, you did a really good. Now, and just let me put it out there. You did this to her, like the impression of her.
I did it at her.
Yes, and she thought it was funny as hell. So, and I would say we liked her. She was so quirky, but her know-it-all wasn't the annoying know-it-all. It was actually the kind of fun know-it-all. Is that a good way to put it?
Exactly. Darwin, Darwin and Cat, you probably don't know this because this is a little known fact, but police officers were once required to grow mustaches. And, I was dating a fella in law enforcement, and he confirmed this with his big bushy mustache. Now, thank you. Every story she had for us started with, I was dating this fella in law enforcement. She loved the police.
With cops. Yes.
Yeah. And we had some great cops in our audience. We love the police, but we don't love them the way Mary loves them. That's in a very special way.
And there was one morning, there were a lot of mornings. She had no idea how to handle us at all. And there was one morning that we were particularly unhinged. And I have audio of that. I was digging around in our archives.
Oh,
and
nice.
I found we were talking about late stage Lucille Ball. And
air hose Lucille Ball.
Yes. And this is kind of a funniest.
Give me a goddamn highball, Morty, and get off of my air hose.
Yeah, you were actually.
Did I do that?
You did, except for it was Desi.
Oh, okay. Morty was her second husband.
Yeah, Morty. Was it Morty? I think it was. What was his name? Was it Morty?
Yeah, Morty was.
No, it was Gary. Gary.
Oh, Gary Mortensen. She called him Morty.
Gary Morton. Oh, that's right. Duh.
Yeah, we're going deep, dude, with the Lucy jokes.
I'm thinking Morty Amsterdam. Getting the people.
He could get me a highball too, for all I care.
But you were asking. You were as Lucy asking Desi to do things.
Oh my God, I haven't heard this in a long time.
Here it is.
The Darwin and Cat Radio Show.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing
I'm
today?
fine.
Oh, good.
What are we smoking through the holes in our throat? Oh, that's good cookie. Put in Mama's cigarette.
That's because yesterday was Lucille Ball's, would have been her 95th birthday.
Yeah.
Get off.
You're stepping on my air hose, you bastard.
Mary, what did you do to celebrate her birthday?
Did you stomp on grapes?
No, I dyed my hair red
Wow.
All
and
3 feet
painted
of
my
it?
eyebrows. You know how she had those weirdo eyebrows?
Hey, don't.
Weirdo eyebrows. No, that was Fred Mertz.
Yeah.
It's kind of a cross-dresser.
They were like painted on. Remember?
Her whole face was painted on after.
She was shellacked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like,
Come on, Desi. Give me some sugar.
Desi. Desi, I'm horny.
Oh! Service me, damn it.
We already got a little Desi and a little Lucy. Whip out your little Desi.
Let's make more. Oh, what a grisly thought.
Oh, yeah.
Grizzly. What were you smoking?
Well, Cookie, we were smoking a lot of stuff. How are the roads looking?
Yeah.
Roads
What's going on?
Like no problems.
All right.
The Darwin and Cat Radio Show.
Oh, thank you, Mary.
Desi, I'm
You're
getting the
welcome.
radio on my titanium hip. Come listen. Come down here.
Thanks, Mary.
Thanks, Mary.
Welcome.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh,
Isn't
happy
it?
birthday, Lucy.
Yesterday.
I'm looking at the ceiling. Well, no, I should look at the floor. Happy birthday down there, Lucy.
Oh, you're awful.
Well, we don't know where she is.
That's all right.
So yeah,
I haven't changed much, really.
Oh, and Mary did not know what to do there. She just didn't know what to do. She does.
They never taught me this in the broadcasting classes.
She just wanted to do her traffic and have us leave
The
her
poor
alone.
thing. Oh, you know what? It's true. All she wanted to tell us was the traffic on the Twins. A little congested.
Although, remember the time she randomly bought a gas station
Yes. Why? Why did she just buy a gas station?
and it was co-owned with a cop? I think I bought a gas station. You know, the one off 787 in South Albany, and we're like, "What? You bought a what?"
Who
Gas
just buys a gas station?
Mary.
I guess you
Hey.
can do that.
There's money to be made in a gas station. I wonder if she still owns it. I don't know. All right, are we ready for another?
Lay it on
What do
me.
you think of this? What do you think of this thing?
I like your game, but I like the little box the best because I like the little noise it makes.
Shake it up.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Ooh. If you pick the name I'm thinking of for this, we are going to have to come up with a pseudonym.
Okay.
Am I okay? Because I don't think we're going to be nice with this one. Although you might pick someone else, so I don't know.
Okay.
Here's the category. You ready?
Yes.
The third wheel.
Oh. Okay. I don't want to say his name, but I will
Okay.
say
it's
something.
a him. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
a him.
Got a him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say it's Flim Slark.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yay, me. Now, there probably isn't a human being on Earth named Flim Slark, but it's incredibly close to his actual name.
Well, it's a radio name, isn't it? Is
Yeah,
that
it's
even
probably a fake radio name. Yeah.
probably. Was it his real? I don't even know if he had a real name. I don't know. Flim. Okay, Flim.
Flim. Slark.
FL. Flim. All right, this guy. First of all, I did not. Okay, let's set the scene a little bit. I was, how old was I then? 20 something. Was I in my 20s?
Mid 20s. Yeah.
Mid 20s. Yeah, mid 20s. And I thought he was easily late 40s, early 50s, and didn't know till recently he was only 5 or 6 years older than me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Is he
I
that much
thought he
older
was.
than me?
I thought he was in his early 60s. I really did. I thought he was about 63, but had a lot of work done with like a frozen face.
Oh my
I am
God.
really young, like barely could move, that kind of thing.
He might be 10 years older than me, maybe.
So much Botox that it looked like he'd been stuck in a wind tunnel on Venus. That kind of look.
Yes. But the way he acted like he'd been taking Geritol for years.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
It came to a great shock to me fairly recently when we were starting the podcast, and we were like, I wonder what happened to so-and-so and so-and-so. And I found out, I think he might be 10 years older than me. So at the time I was maybe, let's say I was 26, he would have been 36, which 36 is not that old.
Pretty young. Yeah.
But he seemed like, you can imagine being 36 and your coworkers think you're 56 or 66. That's bad. So why is this so funny to me right now?
Brutal. Yeah.
The morning show, there was all this turmoil on Fly 92.
The Capital Region's hit music superstation is WFLY Troy, Fly 92.
On the
Fly
CHR
92,
station.
the big top 40 station in the building with huge ratings.
And the program director who did an afternoon show was not consulted about replacing the morning show. And there was a big blow up and he walked out and quit in the middle of the day. Very dramatic scene. And I don't blame him because
I quit this bitch.
Yeah. And he was a great guy. He went to New York City. Now he runs some big stations in New York City, and John Fox,
Yep.
who we love.
Good guy.
Foxy. He was great program director. They made a big mistake. I feel like, my opinion, they screwed
And
him
then
over.
just poof, he was gone one day. Yep.
I mean, we were there when he had the blow up with management and yelling, walked out, I effing quit, and went to his desk, took his stuff, left, and never came back. But he went on to bigger, better things. So they end up hiring a morning show. And this was because this is why he quit. They hired a morning show without consulting with him, and it was his station.
Oopsie.
But there was somebody who wanted the morning show who was also yet another one of our it all comes back to our traffic people today.
God, what is it?
Right? So this was another person who was one of our traffic reporters who had gone for the Fly morning show, but been told, we're not going with you. You're going to stay in traffic. But his man friend person he was dating, were they dating? Their gay marriage wasn't legal
his
yet.
life
so they
mate.
weren't- His life mate, friend, was somebody at an executive level in the company. We'll say that.
Yeah.
Who also was making a lot of money for the company. And basically this guy, what was the name you went with?
Flim Slark.
Okay. He goes, basically the story we heard was he kind of made a threat. If I leave, I take my life mate with me and you're going to lose a lot of money.
I'm taking my life mate and going home. Neener.
Yes. And they freaked out because that was going to be a lot of revenue lost. And so they basically tacked him on like that. What's that game you play when you're a kid with the pin with the donkey?
Pin the tail on the donkey.
Yeah, that's it.
That
Why couldn't I
one.
think of that?
Yeah.
Basically, they pinned the tail on the donkey for the morning show, and they told the morning show, hey, Geritol is joining your show. Do I have the story right so far?
Perfectly.
The New Fly morning show did not like him. They did not want him on the show. It was one of those, we need to give him something to do crap. He gets added
We
to the
need
show.
to give him something to do. Now, what do people his age like? They like shuffleboard? Do they like a little bit of crocheting?
Maybe he can go crochet in the corner and not say anything, right? But instead, they gave him a segment to give celebrity updates.
Aha, yes.
And they had the bed music that was like being out at the gay bar. It was like, ooms, 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 choof, choof, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom. And it was terrible. And he'd go on and he would give his celebrity updates, which were usually pretty not, I don't know.
Was it really old celebrities? You'll never guess what Buster Keaton's up to. And everyone's like, who?
Or maybe.
How old is this guy?
You went way back for that.
Mary
one. I like that.
Pickford is on fire, girl.
I was going to go with with the guy that played the piano that was really flaming.
Liberace.
Yes, yeah, I was gonna go with him. Yeah, no. Victor Borga. I don't know, I'll go with him.
Victor Borga. Today's Siegfried and Roy report is brought to you by.
But it was worse than that. That we would have been better off going with those celebrities. What was worse with that was he would be talking about these modern celebrities, but not really know. It was kind of like the teacher trying to be cool. Teachers I work with, they try to be hip and cool, and they're dropping in.
Hey man, I'm your teacher, but I'm really your friend.
Yeah, it's like the teacher who tries to use skibbity toilet, like they know what it means, and they use it in the wrong context. Right? It was painful.
Yeah,
it was bad, and you could always tell the other two hosts when he would try to chime in, they would sometimes leave his mic turned down more.
That move.
Yeah. So they would talk about him behind his back all the time. They would mock him. They would make fun of him. They would make fun of him with us. And they would and when he was out sick or something, they'd be like, oh, we're going to have a good show today. Ooh, it was so pathetic.
Ouch.
And we knew this. And we didn't hate the guy, but we sometimes found him annoying.
It's pretty sad though. Oh.
Yeah. One morning, they were doing renovations there. And they put a new board in.
On his face?
And they put in a new board. Do you remember this? Do you remember this whole situation?
Mm-mm.
So they put in a new board, and it was the digital boards, the really fancy ones that we were not getting. These boards were like, where you could go in the studio and punch in a code, and we could have broadcast from their studio. It was like the fancy doodle. But there was something wrong with the software. Even though the mics were off, everything they were saying was going over the air. Oh. Do you remember this?
I do. Oh, it was not good. Oh my God.
It wasn't good. Pseudonym again? Why can't I remember this?
Flim Slark.
Yes.
Can't imagine why you don't remember that.
It's so easy. It rolls
off the tongue.
He was out of his desk putting together his celebrity news. Well, the other two were in the studio talking about basically how much he annoyed them and how much they couldn't stand him that particular day. I mean, they were really on a roll about it. And he was sitting at his desk and it was all going out over the air. And they had no idea.
Radio really is 6th grade.
Yeah. I had to go back to our desks for something. And I see him sitting at the desk.
Oh, no.
Raging. You remember this? And I could hear it going over the air.
I'm reliving it.
Yes, you're reliving. I remember I ran to their studio and I see the tally light isn't on. This is on air. And I go in their studio.
It's like,
and I'm like, your mics are hot. And they're like, huh? So I unplugged all their mics. I just started unplugging them from where they plugged in. And I was like, I don't know what's going on, but everything you're saying is going over the air. And he's at his desk right now. And he's going to come in here pretty mad.
And he just heard you say that he smells like Munster cheese.
That would have been a compliment compared to what they were saying. And they were just like totally mortified. They're like, how can that be? The mics are off. How can that be? I go, I don't know, but there's something wrong with your new board.
Rule of thumb, always act as if your mic is hot.
That was the rule in radio.
Yep.
And this time their mics were hot and they had no idea. So it was so bad. He went home. Remember, he just went home.
Yeah, I'd be bummed too. I was like, I don't smell like cheese. What are they talking about?
And he just left. He just up and left. So they had to plug in their mics to use them every time that day. And then they were really, really mad because this new board screwed up and all that. And eventually he did leave, like quit leave. Like they moved away because I guess Moneymaker wasn't actually making that much money or something. I don't know. Maybe he wasn't as valuable. Maybe he quit. I don't know what the backstory was when they left. I don't know.
That story does kind of make me a little sad though. Because I didn't want to see him be like drummed out of town like that still.
Oh, that was horrible. Imagine if we were fighting.
Imagine if our mics were hot.
Right. Imagine if that happened to us. Like I actually felt awful for him. Like I was torn between, do I comfort him at his desk or do I run back and make it stop? I chose.
You had a decision to make. You jumped on that grenade. You jumped on those hot mics.
I thought it was better to go.
I just said you jumped on hot mic. I don't know whoever he is, but.
No, you know, back then. Wait a minute. What?
Huh?
So that was, but he definitely he was super annoying, but you don't want to, we don't want to be mean. We don't want to be evil. So Godspeed wherever you are. Let's pick another category. This got depressing.
I know. Move on.
Let me grab my box here.
All right.
Okay.
Hey, you want to end the show with a to be continued meme? I don't even know what that...
Believe it or not, we've had so many coworkers from hell that we had to break this up into 2 episodes. Tune in next week for part 2 of Coworkers from Hell on the Darwin and Cat podcast.